What up, sir? How you doing?
Oh man, I'm good. How you doing on this wonderful Monday night?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
Good
Hanging
deal.
in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep my focus on you, but I got the Cowboys game to my left, and they suck. I have their backup quarterback on my fantasy team. That's how bad my fantasy team is, and I need him to do well. But did you see what happened at the very or before the Cowboy game started tonight?
No, I haven't paid attention at all.
The dumpster fire of the 2024 Cowboy season. They tried to open the roof, I guess, for the first time in like 2 years, and a piece of sheet metal fell from the roof and landed on the field. They have a video of it. It landed right beside like three people that were like production members for the ESPN crew.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
could have killed or seriously hurt somebody. And then there was other pieces of metal that fell from the ceiling but got stuck like in rafters, so they had to send somebody up to like bolt them all into place because they didn't want to try to take them down with fans in the seats. So yeah,
Dang.
the
Yeah.
stadium's falling apart. Good job, Jerry. The team sucks and the stadium's falling apart. So
Well, they should have been
anyhow,
opening the roof up a lot. I mean,
apparently that was the first time they tried to open it in 2 years. Which why put a retractable roof if you're never going to open it? So and
because
why
didn't
not?
they had it open for like the first game ever at the stadium,
And then they
but then
haven't
they
done it much
closed it
since.
and they
Yeah.
just shut it down.
No, and they got the issues with the lighting coming in the one end zone that blinds their
Oh yeah.
players. So yeah, clusterfuck. Way to go, Jerry. You're doing a great job with the organization. So
Well,
anyhow, what's good is I think that we're going to see some similarities between Jerry running the Cowboys and Trump running the this next administration. Like it's
yeah.
two, they're roughly the same age, and I'm pretty sure I don't know if they're friends, but I know that like they are supporters of each other.
Yeah.
So it's two good old boys, yeah, doing well, billionaires
Oh
doing
yeah.
their thing. So yeah,
Billionaires just, fucking shit up.
yeah. So how you feeling about the last, I don't know, 5 days of developments with Trump and his cabinet? Is besides real quick, we're gonna talk Trump's cabinet, I'm sure a lot. But is there
Yeah,
anything
who did we
else?
end on last time? Like, I think we knew
Hmm.
about Gates last time, right? That was like kind of the last person that was
I
selected.
don't know. I've got stuff to say on him, but is there anything outside of Trump picking his cabinet political wise that we need to discuss? I'm trying to, what's that? I think everything I've seen has been about Trump picking his cabinet. If there's something else
Yeah.
going on in the world, I don't know about it. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess a couple
Mhm.
different countries, they haven't said for sure if it was America, but like France and Germany basically gave Ukraine the green light to start like striking deep into the heart of Russia with missile strikes. Um, there's speculation that we also gave the thumbs up, but like we haven't come out and said that publicly. I think that's the last I heard. So
Okay.
we're finally letting Ukraine off the leash a little bit, and they got about 3 months to go, 2 months to go till Trump's in, and then yeah,
Yeah.
good luck Ukraine
And
at that point.
Biden's trying to put a bunch of judges in place.
Yeah, I mean I think they've been trying to do
But,
that the whole time, but
well,
so
yeah. But they're
yeah,
gonna push it back to after the Congress is in office, after the
okay,
new Congress is in office, probably. So
yeah,
that's more judges for Trump. There's like,
yay.
I don't know, I think it was like 300 of them or something.
Real quick on the whole judges thing, like Mitch McConnell, like you know how I've said many times that like the reason Republicans hate Nancy Pelosi is because she was very effective as a speaker. Like she got a lot
Mhm.
through. She whipped the vote better than anyone else ever. Mitch McConnell's
Yep.
the same way. Like the reason you hate him is because he did such a good job. Like he saved the Republicans or I guess you would say, yeah, the Supreme Court
He
judges
stole two Supreme Court
whatever
judges.
stole whatever. Yeah, he got them two that
Stole
they
them.
shouldn't had. Um,
Straight up.
as far as judicial appointments, he rammed them through under Trump and he held them up under Obama and Biden. Like if you're and Republicans hate him, like most Republicans hate him. He's a corporate Republican. They want him gone.
They
But
didn't hate him before Trump, though. That's the
they
thing.
didn't, but he
Yeah.
didn't always back Trump. But I mean, if you're a conservative Republican, nobody has done more good for your cause than Mitch McConnell. Like they should all be praising him, and he's going to retire hated by most Republicans. So that's just interesting to me. I'm not defending Mitch McConnell by any way. I'm just saying if you align with him, like he's been the most effective person in DC by far.
Yeah.
So him and Nancy have been the two that have gotten shit done in the past 15 years. So
Yep.
and they're
Yeah.
equally hated. So anyhow, um, other thing real quick, I gotta say right off the top because it's been driving me nuts. I finally started watching some political stuff again. I took a good like solid week off, and the past couple days I've been watching, and all the right wing stuff I watch, they're very big. They all keep saying some version of this is a blowout victory. The country has overwhelmingly gave Donald Trump a mandate to do whatever he
Yeah.
wants. And that right now, they're not even done counting votes yet, but right now, Trump's just under 50%. He got, if you round up, it's 50%, but he's barely under 50% of the vote. He won by about 250,000 votes. It is the 44th biggest blowout out of 51 in the last 200 years. So, like, it's not
Way to go. Way to
four,
go.
43 of the 51 had a bigger margin than him. So, like, he won. All props to him for winning. But, like, this wasn't a blowout, like, massive mandate by the people. Like, he barely won. And I don't, it's odd to me that I keep hearing that on every right wing thing I see. And I'm like, is nobody aware of where the count actually is? And apparently they're not. They're just
They don't
in the
care.
right wing echo chamber. They're just telling their people that he blew her out of the water and they're buying
Yeah.
it. Like, I think, I don't know. It's just
It's
annoying to me.
interesting.
Yeah.
Did Biden beat Trump more than
Yeah.
Trump beat Kamala?
Biden
Okay.
beat Trump by 7 million, 6 or 7 million. And
Okay.
right now, Trump is up by like I think it's like 250 or 300,000 votes. He still won. I mean, I'm not knocking him.
Yeah.
It's just it wasn't some overwhelming blowout victory that I keep
Right.
hearing about. So
Right.
anyhow,
But we didn't hear anything about a mandate from the left.
yeah, no, there was no mandate. But I've noticed the corporate Republicans that I watch, like Eric Erickson. I don't know if you know that name, but he's somebody. He has like a daily nationally syndicated radio show, and I've always paid attention to him just because whatever he says is kind of where corporate Republicans are. So I like to pay attention to him. And
Okay.
he was one of the people forever that was doing the whole like Trump says a lot of things, but like pay attention to what he really does. Like he's not going to do most of the things he's saying. He's not going to mass deport. He's not going to do tariffs. And it's funny because a lot of those people are now starting to try to like they're not complaining and they're not freaking out, but they're trying to like make the case on the news, hoping that Trump will see like, hey, FYI, tariffs would hurt the economy. I don't know if you saw Elon Musk even tweeted over the weekend twice, something saying basically that tariffs are a bad idea. I don't remember the exact
Yeah.
tweets, but they're all trying to kind of. They always say that the way you speak to Trump is by getting on the news on a channel he's going to watch. That's where he will hear what you have to say. You can't call him and get
Yep.
a message across. And I feel like that's what they're trying to do. And I don't think it's going to work at all. Like I even told you, I said, there's no way he's going to really do tariffs. I'm backing off of that. Like he's making it very clear that like, yes, he is going to do this and he thinks that they are good. I'm shocked. I thought somebody would have talked him out of it by now, and like tariffs, especially the mass deportations. I think just logistically, he's going to start with the criminals, and then he's going to
Yeah.
say, "Oh, well, I was on my way to getting them all out, but I ran out of time. 4 years, which I could see that
Oh.
happening. That
Yeah. Well,
he
criminals,
can't.
good, good. Get rid of the criminals. Yeah,
I don't.
perfectly fine.
I have no problem if he starts deporting illegal immigrant criminals. Yes, get them out of here. I have no problem with that. The whole like coming and getting somebody's grandma who's been here for 50 years, like that seems unnecessary to me, but whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the tariff thing, I'm noticing, I think Trump loves dysfunction around him. I think it took me 6 or 7 years of like paying attention to Trump, but like when everybody would be off message in his cabinet or in his group or whatever, like people would be like, "Oh, there's so much dysfunction, everything's got to be horrible." And like, no, I think he thrives on that. Like, he's had people come out, people that he's nominated for like cabinet positions that'll come out and say like, "Oh, well, we're probably not really going to do this," and then he comes out the next day and he's like, "Yes, the fuck we will. Like, we're doing this." And it seems like there's no. They should be meeting or sending out an email every morning with like the messaging. Like, let's make sure we're all on the same talking points. And it seems like that's not happening at all. And
No, no.
I,
Well,
I
Trump doesn't even have any talking point. I mean, apparently, whenever he was in office the first time, like they had to revise his like what was it, his daily briefing down to 1 page and put his name in it multiple times so that he
what
would actually pay attention.
what's funny is all that came from Jared Kushner. That's not like the left wing media's blah blah blah. Jared Kushner gave like an interview. I think it was on a podcast, and he explained it. He's like, "Yeah, we had trouble keeping his attention. So at first we started like putting in. I don't remember which one was first. Either they started putting pictures in because they thought that might help, like graphs and pictures, and then they started putting his name in a whole lot and like put his name in bold, and like that really worked. That got his attention. If you
Oh,
can make it about him, like here's what's happening in Russia, and here's what people are saying about you about what's happening in Russia, and that's how they would get him yeah.
right.
So whatever. At least they found a way to make him somewhat aware of what was happening in the world. 'Cause I don't think I think as they were trying to tell him, like, sir, the situation in Taiwan is, whatever it was, that something important was going on. And I think he was like, go away. Fox and Friends is on. Like, I'm trying to watch Fox and Friends. Quit bothering me with this pesky international shit. Like, that's what I
So
like.
what is it with the tariffs thing? Like, how did he come to this conclusion that tariffs were good and he's gonna do this? Like, did somebody tell him? Is he getting this information from somebody else,
He
or
was,
is he
so he was
just
in,
like the applause is what he thrives on with
he
that
was
one?
he was into targeted tariffs in his first term, which like I said it before, like tariffs on the steel industry make sense. Like I'm all for that. And he put a bunch of tariffs on, and Biden kept several of them. I'd say even like possibly a majority of the tariffs that Trump put on, Biden ended up
So
keeping. Go ahead.
because if he took away the tariffs from China, it would give China still because China retaliated and put tariffs on us, right?
Yeah,
And
but
if we took ours away, China would just keep theirs, and then we would be on an unequal footing with them.
and here's the thing, when it comes to China, and I'm by no means prepared to like go in depth on this, but like there's all kinds of issues with China and how they steal our intellectual property. They take products in America and just create a Chinese version of it, and
Oh yeah.
that's a whole thing. So whenever we're dealing with tariffs on China, like I'll kind of default to the government, whether it be Trump or Biden. Like our trade situation with China is not good. So I'm more open to tariffs there. But then when Trump comes out and says, like, no, just I'm going to do a 200% flat tariff on every good imported to the US from anywhere. It's like that's not smart. But I guarantee it's one of those where he said it the first time and the crowd went nuts and he was like, they love it. It's build the wall. It turns out build the
Yeah.
wall was something that was studied. Like they ran tests on different messages and build the wall worked really well. But it seems so generic. It seemed like he said it once and people loved it. And he was like, oh, I'm going to keep saying that. It turns out that wasn't the case. But maybe the tariffs tested well too. Maybe among I hate to talk about voters and sound like derogatory about them, but like the majority of our voters are uneducated when it comes to like the economy or foreign policy. Like I'm not saying they're dumb
Yeah.
people. They don't pay attention to the news or what's going on. And like someone in my family voted for Trump and he said something and I was like, yeah, I was like, I hope he just doesn't do the tariffs. And he goes, well, the tariffs on China aren't a bad idea. And I said, well, no, he wants to do tariffs on everybody. And he said, what? He wants to do tariffs on like more than just China. And I was like, he's been saying it for a year. Like, did you not know? And he truly had no idea. Like, that was the first time that he heard anything about tariffs. And even he said, he was like, man, he goes, won't that hurt the economy? And I'm like, yes. And he voted for Trump a week and a half ago and had no clue about Trump wanting to do mass tariffs. So most of the people that vote aren't aware of a lot of what's going on, which is okay. It means that they're busy and they got a life. But
I mean, they should at least pay attention a little bit, though. That's the
yeah.
thing.
The thing is,
And like,
I haven't had anybody try to argue with me, like anybody in my personal life, try to be like, no, tariffs are good for the economy. And they all know it. They're all like, well, yeah, I mean, it's going to raise prices, but, and they always say, but, like if it leads to a better trade deal with this country or whatever it is. So basically, they're saying they're willing to suffer in the short term that it might bring
oh,
long-term good, is what I've been hearing. So that's the Republican angle on it. But none of them are trying to say like this is a good thing.
okay, all
So
right.
yeah. And then
What do you think about this Department of Government Efficiency?
it's not a real department. So to create an actual department that has to like go through the legislative, like through the House and the Senate.
Right.
So he just invented it's like saying these are my advisors. That's all it is. They're his advisors on how to cut spending with the government. So whatever, call them whatever you want to call them.
Right, but
Um,
there's already a government accountability office, which is
there is,
basically
and
the same thing.
he could have.
And why do they have two people running an efficiency, a
So
department based on efficiency?
I don't know, but here's the main reason. Like Elon is smart enough to where Elon does not want to go through a Senate confirmation hearing. Like, even if he could get approved, like Senate confirmation hearings get nasty. Like, they're going to go through everything in your past.
Yeah.
We can go down this road here in a second, but I think that Elon was wise enough to know, like, no, I don't want to be an official member of the government, like all the hoops he'd have to jump through. So just
Yeah.
put me in charge of some made up bullshit and it'll be fine. I think Elon's fine with it. I do think I was seeing for like the last week that like, oh, like Elon and Trump are getting annoyed with each other. And it seemed very made up. It was like, oh, like the Twitter left is trying to create drama where there is not drama.
I
And
keep hearing that. Yeah.
I still say I don't think Trump and Elon are getting annoyed with each other, but I think it appears by reporting that most of Trump's like inner circle, the people around him, are getting annoyed with Elon. I don't think Trump is, but like a lot of
I can
them
see that.
want Elon to go away so they can institute the plan they had, and Elon is kind of telling them, no, 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 I got this. Like, we're going to do what I'm saying. So there's been reporting, people are leaking from Trump's basically inner circle that they're upset with Elon, but I don't think Trump is. At some point, Trump and Elon is going to go south. Can you name one relationship with Trump where like there was trust and loyalty and it stuck around for more than a year?
I mean, wait, is anybody coming back for a second
I mean,
term here?
Rudy maybe is the
Rudy?
only person that like, and Rudy's not in the administration, but Rudy's the
Yeah.
only
Mike
person that like,
Lindell.
yeah, but no, so none of those people are in the administration, which I
Oh
guess
yeah,
Elon
yeah.
technically isn't. But anyhow, I think at some point that'll turn south, and whether they'll kind of just go their separate ways and not talk shit, or maybe they will talk shit. I don't really know, but I don't see that lasting forever. But I do think right now the whole like, oh, they're getting sick of each other. I think that's being overblown by the left, but
Probably.
that's just
Yeah.
me. Real quick, Trump has been talking noise. I'm sure you've seen this about how he wants to appoint all of his cabinet members through basically a Senate recess or recess appointments, is what they call it.
Yep.
And to do that, the House and the Senate would both have to volunteer to go on recess at the right time, so he could just put his appointments through. Um, Last week was a real big deal, and we kind of touched on this, but last week they had the vote for Senate Majority Leader, and Trump desperately wanted Rick Scott. Trump and all of Trump's people wanted Rick Scott, and Rick Scott was going to be a yes man for Trump. And the other two guys that were running were John Cornyn from Texas, who he's a good decent man. I like John Cornyn. He's probably done after this next term. The other guy was John Thune, and the first vote they had, I think Trump's guy got like, it was like maybe 20 votes, somewhere in that range, 20 or 22 votes, but that was his ceiling. Like that was the most he was going to get. And then the second time through, John Thune got 29 to make him the winner. So that means out of
Okay.
53 Republican senators, there are 29. And I think that was just kind of a message to Trump. They were like, hey, we're not going to let you run us. Like we're the Senate kind of has some
Yeah.
they kind of got some cockiness or like a big head. They got a big ego about how important they are, but they're like, no, we're
Right.
the Senate and we have a certain role to play here, and we're not going to let you dictate. So that was a great message they sent right there that they're not just going to bend to his will. Now Thune came out a day or two after he won, and he said, "Well, we hope we don't do recess appointments, but everything's on the table. Basically, it could happen." And then Mitch McConnell came out, and people are saying Thune is Mitch McConnell's puppet. Mitch McConnell he was Mitch McConnell's protege. So Mitch McConnell is going to be kind of
Okay.
helping him along here. And McConnell came out just a day or two ago and said, there is no way we're doing recess appointments. It is not happening. So it seems like the
Yeah, but Mitch
Senate,
McConnell also said you couldn't put a Supreme Court justice in office in the last year of your presidency,
yeah.
and then
Then he
went
changed
ahead
it
and
to
did the
say
same thing.
unless you have the Senate. If you have the Senate too, then it's fine. So and that was the difference.
I don't trust a word Mitch McConnell says.
Oh, he's a sneaky bastard. But I do think, remember Trump was saying all that racist stuff about McConnell's wife. Like McConnell's wife is Elaine
Mhm.
Chao, and she was in Trump's first cabinet. And he
Yep.
even after he lost the election, he kept saying Mitch's China loving wife, Coco Chow, or so he had some nickname for her. So I think McConnell doesn't like Trump. He wants to like this Senate is going to be very cool with letting the typical Republican shit through. Like if like whatever they're working on, tax cuts, all that, they're going to let all that fly. Any of the crazy shit Trump tries to do that's not really a conservative thing, it's just Trump being crazy, they're going to hopefully hold him down on that. I'm thinking. Could be wrong, but right now it seems like they
Yeah.
are. And it only takes
Oh,
right now it only takes four Republican senators to say no to whatever Trump wants to do, and they can't
oh,
get to 50. So there's two of them for
okay.
sure. Murkowski and Collins, the two ladies. Mitt Romney's still in the Senate, I believe, so he's definitely up
I thought he
there.
was retiring.
Is he done or is he retiring after the next one? Yeah, if you can
Uh,
Google that.
does he have 2 more years, maybe?
I think he has 2 more years, but I could be wrong on that. But so I think we're gonna have to go through the regular confirmation um procedure. By the way,
Hopefully. I mean, and that's where Matt Gaetz gets kind of screwed, right? For
it
paying
seems to
17-year-olds to
me
have sex with him.
I will probably end up being wrong on this, but it seems to me like there's no way Gates gets through with approval from the Senate. The only way Gates becomes AG is if somehow he gets his recess appointments. They're not going to approve him at all. Uh, I'm seeing this written a lot, but they're saying that also Tulsi and RFK probably don't have a chance to get through the Senate. I feel like Tulsi and RFK will, but I'm
Mm.
reading that they might apparently there's enough Republican senators that don't want that shit in power. So
Did you see RFK eating McDonald's and drinking a Coke on his play?
the thing I'll say about that is he didn't look happy to be doing it. He was kind of looking at it like, I can't believe you're taking my picture with me eating this shit. And he had said like a week ago that he was on stage somewhere talking, and he was talking about the terrible food that they have on our Air Force One. It's KFC and McDonald's. So I
Yeah.
don't think that he was like, ooh, yummy. I'm so excited to have McDonald's. I think he was probably not excited to have his picture taken while he was sitting there with that in front of him. But
Yeah.
also, that's a heck of an order right there. Every one of them had a Big Mac and like a 20-piece nugget like on their plate. That's a big boy order right there. I don't even get that. A McNugget and a 20 or a 20-piece McNugget and a Big Mac and
Huh.
fries. Yeah. So anyhow, get fed
It's been a
well.
while. I haven't eaten McDonald's in 20 years.
Because of my kid, like I'd say 2 or 3 times a year, we go through McDonald's and she gets a Happy Meal. And I will say, like a Big Mac and a quarter pounder taste delicious. I know they're terrible for me. I've seen the videos when you leave a Big Mac on the counter for a year and it doesn't change and doesn't mold. It still tastes delicious, is all I'm gonna say. I
Yeah.
grew up on that shit. And then real quick, so as far as I don't want to go through all his cabinet nominees he's got right now, but Chris Wright is a guy that was the executive of a company that does fracking, and he's going to be head of the what is it? I can't remember. EPA, excuse me. Is it yeah, I think it's EPA. Anyhow, he
Yeah.
firmly believes
Oh.
that there is no such thing as a climate crisis. There is no climate change. So
Oh
that
my
that was
gosh.
that was one of the ones that's flying under the radar that I thought, okay, like I'm shocked more people aren't talking about him. Let me see what is he?
So the head of the EPA doesn't believe in
No,
climate
so
change.
he's the energy department, head of energy.
Head
So
of
I was
okay.
wrong. I knew EPA was wrong. Uh,
Okay. Yeah, who's the EPA? Because
let's see here.
that's going to be an important one. It already looks like they're going to get rid of Bears
Oh,
ears.
EPA is
And
Lee Zeldin, who's a former congressman from New York. So,
okay.
yeah, either way, I think they've already said we're going to back out of the Paris Climate Agreement again. Trump took us out of it the first time, Biden put us back. Now we're going back out.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the good news is we're already headed in the wrong direction. So, I mean, we might get there a little faster, but it's not
Yeah.
like up until Trump we were fixing the problem. So, I'd like to think we would fix it at some
Fixing what
point.
problem?
The whole polluting and climate change and all that.
Yeah.
It seems
Yeah,
bad.
we're not doing a lot. I mean, we're doing some, you sent me something about a dam being demolished the other day.
I don't know if I did send you that.
Maybe that was somebody else sent me
Yeah, I
that.
see too much stuff.
Yeah, they're still doing stuff where they're
Yeah,
tearing down dams and like
I've
trying to get
been
things back
I've
better.
I've been really like disheartened about the whole like oh we got to save the environment thing because like I feel like everywhere I go, especially in Oklahoma, like it's just a lot of diesel trucks when they hit the gas, big smoke plumes coming out the back, energy plants everywhere, smoke coming out. I just look at all the smoke going into the air, and I'm like, oh, we're fine. This is we're good. There's no need to fix any of this. Plus,
Yeah, we're good.
in Oklahoma, there's no such thing as like state inspection to get your registration. So like
Oh,
In Texas, they'd have you come in and they'd stick some deal in your tailpipe and your car had to
yeah.
be not polluting. We don't have that here. That's just you just go and you pay $80 and you're good for 2 years. So there is no
Oh,
inspection. Yeah.
oh,
Interesting,
interesting.
right? Yeah. So that's the Republican dream, buddy. That's
That's
where I'm
cool.
at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So and then also there's three of the people he's nominated for his cabinet, and I can't remember all their names, but are the authors of Project 2025. So I
That's great.
the whole
Not
like
fantastic.
I have no clue what Project 2025 is. I've never heard of it, but like
Yeah.
three of the four guys that wrote it are now going to be in his cabinet. Where the fourth is probably pending. Like he'll probably get announced soon. So
Uh,
get ready for that.
okay.
What story we got going?
What is, I mean, it's been a while since I've heard anything about Project 2025, like the actual, like, don't they want to like get rid of no fault divorce, which I don't really understand what that
Which
is.
Texas is trying to put through, which I don't think it's going to pass, but I think they might have already voted on it. I forgot to pay attention to it, but they were trying to put through something called like the covenant marriage bill, which was, I'm going to mess this up, but you can't get a divorce unless both sides agree to getting a divorce, and you
Oh,
have to do 5 hours of counseling with a clergyman. So
clergy.
it can be with any religion, but it's got to be some kind of an ordained minister or pastor. You have to do 5 hours of counseling, and then after that, you still have to both agree. I don't know anything about the topic, but people say that that's bad for women that are trying to escape, like, abusive relationships. That's who that pretty much
Yeah.
would affect the most.
Oh yeah, because the guy
Yeah,
would be like, "Oh shit."
yeah. So
Hmm.
that's different than no fault divorce, but like the whole, I don't know. It seems like the men really don't want the women leaving. So anyhow,
Yeah, interesting.
yeah.
What else is in Project 2025 that's detrimental?
Abolishing the Department of Education was so that's already happening. I don't even think he's nominated anybody for Department of Education because he is like day one, he's closing that. By the way, did you see the video I sent you with my wonderful school superintendent in Oklahoma here? The video that he
Oh
sent to.
yeah, that's scary.
Oh man, like I'm telling you, like it was basically like a 2 minute video that he sent out, and he said he wanted every teacher to play it in their classroom, and he wanted every district to send it to all the parents. And it's him announcing that he's bought like 500 of the Trump Bibles, and he held it up, and it's the Trump, with the Constitution and all that, and he's sending them to schools. And then he was inviting everyone to say a prayer for Mr. Trump with him. He also bashed teachers unions,
Did
and
we just play it?
I'll see if I can splice it in. The audio never comes through right. I'll see if I can splice it in. But
Okay.
he bashed the teachers unions. He mentioned the radical woke left that's trying to destroy America several times. Luckily, almost every district has come out already and said they are not going to play that video. And they said they basically said
Nope.
they said if you want everybody to see this, you have the power to send this to all the parents through your own office. So why don't you just send it out? So they've all stood up to him. So good deal on that.
Oh,
Um,
okay, good.
but the other thing, Project 2025, they wanted to do away with all porn. Like not like in my state and in Texas, you can't go onto porn websites. It's just they all block you. Um,
Oh,
yeah, and apparently they want it to be nationwide. I don't really understand
you just need a
why.
VPN to hack that system.
Yeah. If I watched pornography, I might get a VPN, but I'm a pretty good man and I'm married, sir, and I don't watch that. I was told by a friend that it's been blocked. I didn't know for myself. Um,
Okay,
Anywho, new
sure.
topic. Um, oh yeah, I forgot. There was a fun Trump gave an interview about tariffs a while ago that I watched today, and in it he had a couple fun quotes, but one of them he said that tariffs are the greatest thing ever invented, and then later he said tariffs are the greatest word in the dictionary. So like he's a
Oh,
big fan of tariffs now. Like I don't.
why?
The
I'm so
thing about
confused.
I don't. He probably knows this. I was gonna say I don't think he knows this, but like if he does his tariff plan, it will create like the greatest transfer of wealth ever in history to the richest of the rich, like the people that
Yep.
own corporations. So it'll make the poor poorer and the rich richer. And maybe
Yep.
that's just what he likes about him. I can't think of any other thing he'd like about him. So I tried to find like the Republican argument for like why he should do tariffs, and like I said, everybody was like, he's not really going to do it. Nobody was trying to argue that it was good. They were just saying he's not really going to do it. And it's like, no, he's talking about it frequently, so I think he's going to do
Yeah,
it.
it seems like he's gonna do it. And is that something he can just do with a stroke of a pen, or is that something he has to run through Congress?
So he did it with a stroke of a pen last time, and theoretically, Congress could have challenged him, but I think at that point they didn't want to waste the energy on it. They had too much other stuff going on. Now we've got a Republican House and a Republican Senate, so they're definitely not going to challenge him on it. The way that he can get away with it is he has to basically declare that it's a national emergency or that it's a national security. Like that's how he got the steel ones. He said it has to do with national security, so he doesn't have to go through. But that's one of those where he can make the argument like, "Oh, I'm doing all of these for national security," and like somebody has to challenge him on it, and I don't think they're gonna at this point. So.
Uh,
I've kind of hit a point where with the tariffs where I'm just like, let's let him have his tariffs. Like he's gonna get his tariffs one way or another. Like they might fight about it for a while, but it's gonna happen. So let's just let him have it. And then one of two things are gonna happen. Either somehow that is unbeknownst to me, I can't fathom how it might happen, but maybe, just maybe, it's going to be great for America and great for the American economy. And if that's the case, me and you are both going to reap the rewards. Okay. Less than
yeah.
1% chance, but maybe that happens. Or it's going to crash the economy and we're going to go into a recession. And then we will know for the third time in history that mass tariffs do not work. Two Republican presidents have already tried this. This will be the third attempt. I don't know if you,
Uh,
I saw a funny video on Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You remember that movie?
yeah, yeah.
So in the beginning of that, the guy who on Comedy Central, there was a show called Win Ben Stein's Money, and it was that guy Ben Stein with the real monotone voice you could like fall asleep listening to.
Oh,
He was the teacher in Ferris Bueller's, And at one point, they're showing the classroom, and he's talking about Reagan's economic policies and voodoo economics, trickle down economics, and he talks about mass tariffs in like 1930, the Smoot-Hawley plan, whatever it was. And he's like, "Did they work? Anybody? Anybody?
I
Did they
mean,
work?
I saw a clip
No,
of
they
that.
didn't work." Anyhow, but yeah, so that this will be the third attempt. So, but I that's where I'm at with a lot of this is like just let him try it. Like if we don't let him try it, then we're gonna have to put up with the next 20 years of people saying, "Man, Trump's tariffs would have worked if we would have let him do it." No, let's just let him do it. He's gonna. I don't want to
Yeah.
argue anymore. Let's. It's like why argue about it when we could just let it play out? Let's let it play out and let's see if mass tariffs are good for the economy. If it works, then awesome. I'll say I was wrong. If it doesn't work, we'll know that mass tariffs are a dumb idea. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel about his cabinet too. Like there's a part of me, not Gates. I don't know why, but Gates being a what do they call that? I
Pedophile?
don't want to I don't yeah, pedophile's the right word. I was trying to be like less mean about it,
He's a
but it
pedophile.
seems like he definitely was having sex with underage girls and transporting them across state lines from all accounts.
Yeah.
Which I mean you saw
And
he
paying them.
resigned. He resigned 2 days before there was an ethics report like set to come out that was gonna
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
apparently it was going to crush him. Like this was the end of Matt Gates, and he just resigned 2 days before it came out,
dude,
and hoping he gets, I mean, he's out of politics.
I'd say there's a
Good.
70% chance that we still see that report. It's more likely than not. And right now, the Republicans that are loyal to Trump are trying everything they can to make sure that report never comes out. But
Mhm.
I think the thing is, there's a lot of people that hate Matt Gates, like even Republicans, like him and Ted Cruz are universally disliked by both sides. So I think we're going to see that report. But like Gates, obviously, I don't think he should be in. Like Pete Hegseth, I always say his name, Hegseth, the guy from Fox News.
Yeah.
Like, let him do it.
He's not qualified though. That's the thing is none of these people are qualified for their positions.
Uh,
Like,
a lot of times, and I don't want to sound right wing here, but you look back at the last however many cabinets, and like there's a lot of people that don't belong that get into these cabinet positions. It's kind of a favor to people that have helped you through your career or whatever. Especially that's like the ambassador thing. Like I'm gonna make him ambassador to Germany. Like it's the people they do that with have no qualifications. It's an honorary thing, and I feel
and then
like
speak German. Yeah.
no, yeah, but I feel like if you were to, I don't want to pick on Trump because I think if you went back and looked at like Obama's cabinet or Clinton's cabinet, like you'd see several in there where you're like, who's this guy? Okay, and it was somebody that he owed a favor to or somebody that had always been nice to him. So
I mean, like Pete Buttigieg he was
yeah,
not qualified to be where he is, but he was capable enough to step into that role and actually like learn
yeah,
how to manage the organization, right?
he's a smart dude, so he's going to figure it out. But also, like, I think that there probably would have been a better spot for Pete given his qualifications. Like, a Secretary of Transportation doesn't seem to make sense. So, not using people good. Again, I don't know. I don't know how often. Like, I think there's certain roles, like Director of National Intelligence. Excuse me. Like, you should have some intelligence background there.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard
No.
doesn't, but whatever. We're gonna roll through with it.
Apparently she's a Russian spy or something. That's what I keep
Yeah.
hearing. I've heard
If
it
you
like
follow a lot
10
of left
times
wing
now.
stuff, she's Putin's puppet, is what people say.
Okay.
She's just there is a weird thing where forever Republicans were the party that was like hawks against Russia for
Yeah.
since the Cold War started. And like there's this weird thing that started happening around 2013, 2014, where like some Republicans were suddenly like pro Putin. And it was odd. It was like, oh wow, there's 3 or 4 Republicans in the House that seem to have Putin's side on a lot of issues. And
Huh.
now it's like half of the GOP. I don't understand it, but it's clearly like you could say there's people in his pockets or there's influencers in his pockets. I've heard so many people, and we talked about this 12 episodes ago, that do the whole, well, like, well, I mean, you can kind of understand why Russia invaded Ukraine because NATO kept expanding. And I've gone through a rant on that before, and I'm not going to sit here and name all the treaties that were violated and all the countries that Russia invaded that they said they wouldn't. Even Ukraine, this is the one point I'll bring up till I die. But Ukraine, I don't know if you know this, Ukraine had nuclear weapons up until 1994. So
Really?
back in the day, the USSR was, I think, 13 countries, Ukraine being one of them. And Russia had their nukes scattered in all these different countries that were part of the USSR. They had some in Ukraine. When the USSR broke apart and Ukraine became its own country, they had all the nukes that Russia had stationed there. So suddenly they're a nuclear nation. America and Russia and probably the rest of the world did not like the thought of Ukraine being a nuclear nation. They were a brand new country. We didn't know which way they were going to go. We didn't know who was going to be running things. So America, Russia, and Ukraine all got to the negotiating table and came up with a treaty in 1994. And it's basically, if you give up your nukes, we promise you, like, we'll make sure that Russia never invades you to try to bring you back into the Soviet Union.
Oh,
And Russia promises not to. And if they do, if they try to, America has your back. America will defend you against Russia. So they gave up their nukes, and then 18 years later, they get invaded by Russia. And Republicans
hmm.
are like, yeah, I don't know why we're defending Ukraine because we made a pledge to do it. That's what it all comes down to. So, anywho, that's just a I'm a sucker for like if we have an alliance or if we've made a treaty, we should honor it. And
Yeah,
apparently,
absolutely.
I'm one of the few people that feels that way. But the most controversial of Trump's cabinet picks, and this is the one we'll end on, definitely RFK. I honestly thought RFK would get through Senate confirmation, and then I started reading a lot on it, listening to people talk, and like if it goes through confirmation, they're going to bring up some shit. Like the whole, and I talked about it months ago, but the whole thing in Samoa where he kind of led like an
Oh yeah.
anti-vax uprising, and then I think it was like 83 people died of measles. Most of them were kids. Like there's some
Yep.
shit like that in his past.
He
He
blamed
has
it on
some.
the he blamed it on the vaccine when it was actually like the nurse's fault because they accidentally put painkillers instead of
They
saline into the
they mixed the vax with muscle relaxers and gave it to infants, and
yeah.
the infants just stopped breathing. And what's sad is they found this out within like 2 weeks of it happening. Like they knew what the problem was, and then RFK came in after they identified the problem and figured out what was going on, and he came in and riled them all up against vaccines.
Dude,
He's
put
got some.
him in charge of the EPA. Like he's an environmental like
So did
lawyer,
you
right?
see?
Like
Apparently Obama was thinking about putting him in his cabinet as head of the EPA, and then I guess enough Democrats were like, no, he's crazy on it. There's some other stuff, but like that's he could do that all day long, and I'd be fine with that. Even if you just put him in charge of some kind of like let's make food safer, like I'd
yeah,
be all about that. Um,
sure.
I went through a probably an hour long video today, and it was about they call it the European model, okay? Because if you listen, a lot of people that talk about the foods that we have here and red dye number five, and
Yeah,
whatever it is, they always point to Europe. In Europe, they don't allow this stuff. So for the purposes of this conversation, that's called the European model. Is the video I watched,
right.
okay? The European model, you know what they do to their food companies? Hardcore.
Mm-mm.
They regulate the shit out of them. Okay.
They should.
There is there are rules about what can go in your food and what you can't. There's testing, there's inspections. Like
Yep.
it is hardcore, and that is everything Republicans are against.
Well,
So
Roundup is like banned in every country except for ours, right?
now, if you told me, hey, RFK is going to come in and he's going to make our food healthier, he's going to try to get us more in line with the European model, and he is going to get all the corruption out of the FDA, I would be all for that. He's gonna whatever it is. All they're talking about is he's going to burn it down and they're going to cut regulations. I've been saying this forever, but how do you make us closer to the European model, make our food safer, while at the same time burning down the FDA and slashing regulations? It's impossible. I don't get it. Like it makes no sense to me.
Have I told you about that app I'm using called Yucca?
Yeah, the one
Y-U-K-A?
you scan the barcode and it tells you what all's in it or whatever. It
Yeah, it's
scores it for you.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It tells you what hazardous chemicals are in
Yeah.
everything, and then you can go in and read about those hazardous chemicals. And it's always the Europeans version, like
Mhm.
telling us like this, you know, it a lot of it's like hormonal, like especially
Yeah.
sunscreens. It's like this thing will change the hormones, give you, I don't know. Yeah, it's awesome. I scan
Yeah.
everything
No,
now when I go to the grocery store if it's a
it's
package.
we should all be more aware and know what's in our food and try to eat healthier. And but the thing is, like my beef with RFK is that he says a lot of shit that's clearly true. Like, yeah, we got a lot of additives in our food we don't need. But then
Yeah.
he'll throw out some example that turns out to be completely incorrect. And I'm like, why? Like, you didn't need that example. He even said it was recently something about fries being cooked in seed oil. And he said, yeah, in America, McDonald's cooks their fries in seed oil, but in Europe they don't. And then it turns out, like in Europe, they do 100%. Like they cook it in that there for sure. And it's like, why were you misinformed or did you lie about that on purpose? And like, what's the point? Like you had us at we shouldn't be using seed oil. Like stop.
Yeah.
That's the end. But if you listen to him talk long enough, he'll say three or four things where it's like, well, that's completely untrue, it turns out. So was the rest of the shit he was saying untrue? No, it's kind of like Trump, where it was like you didn't need to add all the other stuff. You could have just said the thing that's true, and that would have been enough.
Yeah.
We'll see. Burning down the FDA versus strengthening the FDA. Like I feel like if he came in and said, I'm gonna get the corruption out of there, I'm gonna strengthen it. I'm gonna, give it some teeth to be able to hold these food companies accountable. Like I'm all for that.
Yes.
That's not what Republicans do. Like and he is saying himself he wants to burn it down. So how do you do that and keep food safe?
So that's frustrating.
Yeah, you know who would love it if he burned down the FDA? The food
Who?
companies.
Oh
That
yeah. Oh
oh,
yeah.
that's a
You put
dream.
whatever
Like
the
no,
hell they want in our food.
exactly. So I don't know. They don't have our best interest in mind. So I kind of like, yeah, let's give all the power to big tobacco, big pharma, and I'm gonna call it big food. I don't know if there's a name for that, but it's like, why would you do that? Even HHS, the way he's talking about it is he's gonna de this is what they're saying is he's gonna basically cut the staff there big time and deregulate it and just make sure that everything's transparent. He just wants transparency on vaccine safety tests or whatever it may be. And it's like, okay, at that point, we're relying on people to read the information and make the right choice. I don't have that much faith in people at all, and I wish I could, but I don't. So
No.
that
Like all these businesses, they just want to make more money. They don't care how
yeah,
they do it. If if being healthier would make more money, we would all be eating healthy as shit, right?
and if eating healthier was cheaper, and the only way you could do that would be through subsidizing like better food, and that's
Mm.
another thing Republicans aren't down with. So there are fixes. Like I'll say most of the stuff RFK says are true, and there are things we could do to fix it. The problem is the things we could do to fix it are things that Republicans are generally very against. And Trump would have to convince them to all be on board with it. And he's not trying at the moment. Maybe he's going to start trying at some point. But that's what makes me think like I don't think a lot's going to happen here at all. Like I think some stuff about COVID is going to like get declassified, like all the Republican senators want to find out more about the lab leak theory and this and that. Like he's going to help them with that. I
Yeah,
don't know that he's going to make a big impact on vaccines or food safety or anything like that.
I
But
sure hope not.
if he gets through confirmation and he would be the most interesting Senate confirmation. Like Gates would be a funny one, but it'd be also like cringe, like not fun to watch. The RFK one, like just think about the stuff we know about RFK right now, just off the top of my head. I'm going to start with the furthest back. Um, Cheated on his wife 37 times in a year, wrote it all down in a journal. His wife committed suicide.
Oh
Then
yeah.
because they never got divorced, he wouldn't let her family bury the body. He insisted it be buried by his family and his family plot.
Oh,
Had her buried in his family plot, then the next day dug her up and moved her to a different plot outside of his family plot.
what?
Right? Okay, so
I didn't know
anyhow,
about
so
that.
yeah. The bear in Central Park, was 10,
Yeah, he
15
had
years
sex with a
ago.
dead bear.
He didn't have sex with a dead bear. He staged a bike accident with a dead bear after a morning of falconing. Still, that's the funny part. Um, at some
Oh, he
point
chopped it.
around the time of the bear, they heard that a whale or a shark had like
A
beached and
whale. Yeah.
died. Was it a whale?
Yeah, he
And
chopped the head
immediately
off.
promptly loaded all of his kids into the minivan with a saw and went down and sawed its head off, strapped it to the top of his minivan, and transported it back across state lines. Um, these are just the funny things. Like there's definitely bad stuff. He recently he got caught in that whole sexting thing with that reporter Olivia Nuzzi from
Oh
New
yeah.
York Mag. She got fired for that. There's so much in his
She got
past.
fired for that?
Yeah, she got fired. He did not. Apparently, she had sent him a naked or a suggestive picture of herself, and he was showing it to like everybody on the campaign trail, and that's how it got back to her boss. As RFK is showing everybody pictures of your reporter naked or whatever it was.
Uh,
Yeah. So I'm just saying you would need to clear out like a week for RFK's Senate confirmation hearing, like if he were to go through it.
yeah.
I think that's why like Trump because it's very common that nominations get pulled. Like as it gets closer to the actual confirmation process, you start to hear what all dirt they have on your guy. And if it looks
Mhm.
like he's not going to get through, you pull your guy. Like that's happened with lots of administrations.
You know, Trump's just
Um,
gonna push him through. He's gonna do the recess thing, push him
that's
through.
it. I don't
But
think he can afford to have Gates or RFK go on like going on confirmation is like going on trial. Like, I mean,
right,
that's what it
throughout
is.
your whole life.
Um, yeah. So I don't think he can let that happen. Like Tulsi could do it and she'd spar with them, but there's like as far with the exception of the whole Tulsi used to work as, when she was little, her parents ran like a gay conversion camp or whatever where they'd pray the gay
Oh,
out of people. That's the only real thing about Tulsi. Other than that, I can't think of a whole lot. But Gates and RFK, like it could be very damaging if they had to go through that. So
well, the upside is that Trump has a high turnover rate, and
yeah, but I mean, even if all he could do is if say that he pulls Gates and he doesn't want him in, um, whoever he puts in and gets fired after 1 year, he could stick Gates in as a temporary replacement while they wait to confirm the next one, and then Gates could
uh,
get 6, 8 months, whatever it may be. In his last term, there was a guy named Matthew Whitaker that was like the temporary AG, and it turned out he was there for like a year, I think, as a temporary. So,
what's Gates going to do if he doesn't get in? I mean, he can't be
dude,
in the house anymore, right?
Gates is so perfect, man. He is fine. Do not worry about Matt Gates. In certain states, there is a term limit for governors. Okay, Florida has a term limit. DeSantis is up after 2026. He can't run for governor anymore. You know who's
Okay.
going to be the governor of Florida after 2026? A
Okay.
a
All right.
100% Matt Gates. A
Whatever.
100%. Like
Okay.
honestly, I think this is part of the plan. Is he drops out of Congress and says it's because he's going to be AG. This is my conspiracy theory. And then they pull him from the AG nomination because they'll say, "Oh, it was unfair and they shouldn't have released the ethics report or whatever thing they'll make up." And then he'll go back and he will campaign on the deep state kept me out. That's going to be his thing. Is I was going to be the AG, but the deep state conspired against me, and
Uh,
he's got a full year and a half to campaign for
oh my
governor of
gosh.
Florida, and he will be the next governor of Florida 100%.
This guy. This
I want
guy.
to bookmark
We're not
this.
going to get rid of him. We're never going to get rid
Yeah,
of him or
come.
Marjorie Taylor Greene or
No, there's
Bobart. She's
nobody.
won
The,
again.
the only person that could challenge him for governor, and this is the other funny thing, is the senator of Florida that or no, so Matt, what is it? No, who's the other senator from Florida? Because it's Rick Scott and who else?
I don't
Hold on,
know. You
I
can
gotta
look it
look
up.
this up because I don't want to sound so uneducated, but there's potentially going to be a senator opening in Florida. Hold on, and have you heard who might be named by DeSantis to? Oh, it's Rubio. Sorry, I don't know how I forgot that.
Oh yeah, Rubio.
So Marco Rubio, that's a blonde moment there. He's going to be the what is it, director. He's not director of national intelligence. He's the secretary. Oh, there's too much going on.
Something he's not
Secretary of
really
State.
qualified for either.
Marco Rubio is about as qualified for Secretary of State as any of the last couple we've had. So I
Okay.
can't knock that. Now, Rubio and Tulsi Gabbard are on completely sides of the whole anti-war thing, and like Gabbard does not
Oh
like
yeah.
Rubio, and like publicly was saying before the election that like if he wins, he should not let Rubio in the administration at all. So those two roles have to work together. National intelligence and Secretary of State kind of
Yeah.
so to have two people on opposite ends there,
Yeah, because
I
he's
think it's
pro-war and she's anti-war.
I think it's chaos, but Republicans will try to say like, look, he that way he has voices from both sides when he has to make these decisions. So that's the argument made there.
Okay.
But so to fill his vacant seat, DeSantis gets to handpick somebody. Guess who is number one on that list right now?
Matt Gaetz.
Laura Trump.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's Eric's wife, the one that runs the RNC and also keeps putting out singles of her music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's so bad.
it's so bad. Um, but that seems to be the front runner. So we're going to have a senator from Florida, Laura Trump, and that's the only person that could potentially go against Gates in 2 years. I think she'd be going for president next. I don't think she's going to do it, but I think you have either Laura Trump or Matt Gates as president or as governor of Florida in 2026. Mark it down. That's my prediction. Probably Gates.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. It's on video.
Isn't it fun? That's what
This is so much fun, Andy.
I'll tell you what, my attitude this 4 years through Trump is going to be totally different than the first 4 years through Trump. Because the first four, I was panicked like a lot. I would wake up and be like, what is he's trying to get us all killed. And then I'm going to take a different approach. Several people told me this through the first term, but they were like, hey, only pay attention to what he actually does. He's going to say a lot of bullshit,
Yeah.
ignore all the things he says, and only either get upset or not about the stuff that he actually does. And That's what I'm going to do this time around. Is he can say all
Yeah.
the stupid shit he wants on Twitter or whatever, and I'm not going to bat an eye. If he puts through a bill that's not good for me or America, I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm done. His rhetoric is not going to bother me these 4 years at all. Like I'm
Okay.
done with that part of my life. So
Done with the rhetoric. It's not
yeah.
gonna. He's not gonna own the libs.
And that's the thing is he when he does it, he's trying to make you get outraged. Like
Yeah.
when he wakes up in the morning and tweets some troll type shit, like he's trying to get everybody on the left outraged, and I'm not going to let him win. So I'm just yeah. Let's see what he
Mhm.
can actually get done. Let's see, and I'm talking about get done, like get through Congress, get some bills passed, not the presidential what executive orders that he signs, because he signed 90 to 100 of those his first time around. And what's great about those is Obama did it too. Biden hasn't done that much, which I respect. But when the next president comes in with one stroke of the pen, they can wipe out all your executive orders. They don't mean shit. They only last while you're in office. A bill that gets passed by the House, then by the Senate, and signed by the
Yeah.
president is way harder to undo. So that's all I care about is what is he actually getting passed that is going to stick around. It's going to be here for a while. We better be cool with it because we're not. It's not going anywhere. So
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, that's my thought.
I don't know, man. It's wild.
Yeah. Are you still
It's
arguing with Republicans every night on the phone?
no, no. I'm done.
Nice. You gave that up?
I did. I gave it up.
Proud of you. I told you, I think 3 or 4 nights in a row when I talked to you, I was like, stop. Like it's it's the most fruitless exercise ever. Like you're not going to convince them and they're not going to convince you, and y'all are all just wasting your breath.
Yeah, I
Just
mean, I can show them a chart and they
where'd you get
just
that chart? The mainstream lion media?
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, that's I learned a lot. It's like there's nothing I could show you that's going to prove to you that this is a fact that you're incorrect. And once I realized that, it's like I'm not going to waste any breath. Like there's
Yeah,
no point in doing it.
it's like 99% of scientists say that. Yeah, but
What about that other
who's
1%?
paying those scientists? George
Yeah,
Soros?
exactly.
It's
Which
like,
I don't know if you saw, but they asked at Mar-a-Lago like a week ago. The guy on the speaker was like, "Where's the George Soros of the right?" And Elon happily raised his hand and was
if
waving.
George
And
Soros was doing half of what Elon does, the right would
yeah,
be up in arms.
what's funny is there has been a George Soros of the right for like the past 2 decades, and it's a combination. It's the Koch brothers,
Yeah,
it's the Murdochs. Like they have them. In fact, on Breaking Points today, they did a whole deep dive about who was funding each campaign, and Trump had the billionaire class by far, like by
oh,
far. And I keep hearing that, like, oh, the Democrats are the elites, and all the billionaires support the Democrats. No, it turns out it was exactly the opposite. Like 2% of billionaires supported Kamala, and 98% of billionaires supported Trump. The reason that Kamala out fundraised Trump was because of all the small money like donations from people like you and me. Trump
yeah.
didn't get a lot of those this time around, but he got the billionaires, so
Well,
that's
and
all that
now he's
matters.
putting billionaires in his administration. So
It's 100%. We're there. So I don't know. Like I said, I say we let it all happen, and I don't want to argue for the next decade about whether Trump's plan would have worked if we didn't if they didn't
yeah,
stop him, his plan would have worked. No, let's put it. Let's see what happens. Let him do his plan, and if it works, I will happily say thank you, Trump. The economy's good. You did it good. I don't
yeah,
think it's going to happen.
but you know, if it doesn't work, there's going to be something that they
That's
go
what
back
bothers
to.
me is they're always going to say,
Always
well, the
something.
Democrats stopped him from fully doing what he wanted to do, and that's why I'm
Yeah.
saying no, no resistance. Just let him do his shit.
Oh,
Whatever he wants,
no, 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 no,
let him
no,
do it.
Andy. No.
That's where I'm at.
Dude, we're going to be living in the streets.
Yeah. I don't the guy that he nominated to be the FCC chairman, like I guess regulates all the television channels and radio airwaves and all that,
Oh,
was the
God.
guy that just 2 weeks ago was saying that NBC should have their broadcast license pulled for letting Kamala on SNL. So I'm like, oh, it's I don't know if you
Oh,
saw. I don't watch it, but Morning Joe is the show on MSNBC, and their hosts
yep.
are Joe Scarborough, who used to be a Republican, and Mika something. I think it's his wife.
Klasinski or something like that.
Yeah, I think she's his wife, and I'm not sure on that. But anyhow,
I think so.
they made a pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago over the weekend and did a sit down with Trump, and they're getting roasted by the left for basically kissing the ring. I have no
Uh,
problem. I don't care about it one way or another. I'm not mad that they went, and I'm not mad they're getting roasted. I think this is all comical to me. But I think if you're a journalist right now, like just with Trump's rhetoric, like you have to be a little like I don't think you should kiss the ring, but your butt should be a little puckered about what might happen to you if you keep
yeah.
speaking out against
Yeah,
Trump. Like
they may come after us for having this podcast talking shit about Trump.
with our
I mean,
roughly 30,
this is North
yeah,
Korea shit. This is
yeah.
Russia to or yeah, RT, Russia
They're
Today.
they're gonna have to start taking out like I think they're gonna go in order of who has the most followers or viewers,
Yeah.
and we are at the extreme bottom of that list.
Yeah.
They're gonna get to us and be like, "Hey, 30 people are watching this show. What should we do about them?" And they're probably gonna say, "Fuck it, 30 people, leave them alone."
Yeah.
So I think we're fine. If they start to go after like Crystal and Kyle and all those people, then we should start to worry. But they have hundreds of thousands of more viewers than we do,
Yeah.
so we're
Yeah.
good.
We'll just shut it down. If they go after Crystal and Kyle, we'll just shut
Yeah.
this thing down.
I'm not I'm
We'll
not afraid to
go.
do that. I don't know if I told you, but I'm not the kind of guy that's going to stand up to the oppression. Like I've said this before, but like if the Russians like marched into America and started putting tanks on every corner, like I would be calling people comrade ASAP. Like I'm gonna go along to get along, buddy. Like I'm not the resistance.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Interesting. I don't
I
know.
I
I feel
can't
like I
believe I
might
haven't
resist
bought
a
a
little
MAGA
bit.
hat yet. I know I told you I was going to buy a MAGA hat when Trump won. I'm not totally joking. If I see one on the street corner, I might have to get one just in case. One day when
Dude,
the authorities show up, I'm going to be like, "Nah, man, MAGA."
the first week when Trump got elected, I started wearing my camo jacket. Just,
You,
just
that's
trying.
so it doesn't work
I
for
don't
you
know the
being
guy
in
who lived.
Colorado. I'll tell you this: you being in Colorado, you're at a disadvantage. But me in Oklahoma, like, dude, I code MAGA so hard. Like, if I just walked into a place, it'd be like, "Yeah, MAGA, brother." Like, I don't even have to dress up for it. Like, I just walk around looking MAGA.
Yeah.
So if it happens, if we go to civil war, like, I'm just gonna slide onto the right, like, without saying a whole lot, and be fine. Like, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, the right has
Sorry.
more guns, don't they?
Well, and also in Oklahoma, like the left is so outnumbered that I'm totally going to slide onto the right. If that,
Yeah.
by the way, 100%, I'm not worried about a civil war happening, but it's fun to joke about. And if it were to happen, I would 100% just be, I would raise a MAGA flag and a come and take it flag in my front yard and be like, I'm on your side, guys. We're all good. So that's where I'm at.
I think I would cruise on down to Mexico.
Yeah,
Hop on the
you're a,
first flight out of here. Something.
as I was hearing it was a podcast and they were talking about a hypothetical. What would it be like if and the Civil War, the first Civil War we had, there was a clear dividing line of North versus South. Whereas now,
Mhm.
like the Civil War that not going to happen is, in every state you've got red and blue. So there's no line that divides which sides against each other. So it's so weird because in certain states, like in Oklahoma, if the Civil War started nationally, in Oklahoma it'd be over in an hour, and the Democrats have surrendered, and Republicans have won the state of Oklahoma. And there's certain states that would just not be much of a war, but there's certain states that are purple that would be kind of interesting. I think
Yeah.
Colorado, there's a lot of liberals in Colorado, but they're all kind of hippie mountain climbing liberals. And then there's like the Lauren Boeberts, like Republicans of Colorado that are
Yeah.
carrying guns and six shooters and all that. Like I think you might lose that one, buddy. Sorry, you Oklahoma or you Colorado liberals are going down.
It's fine. I got guns.
Yeah, I've seen you shoot. It's not going to be good.
Oh, hey.
You you should throw the gun at him. You'll have better success.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a little competition, a little six gun
I
comp.
I still remember watching you charge out of the woods one day with your sidearm drawn, shooting at a pig that you were running after.
I
You
didn't
never
shoot it.
came.
I didn't ever shot.
I think you did shoot at the pig.
No, I never shot.
You never even took a shot.
No, I didn't see him. I mean, I could see him, but I never know how to shot. That's for
I just
sure.
remember you came sprinting out of the woods. A pig ran out of the woods right in front of me, and then you came out like 6 seconds later, holding a pistol, running after it. So, yeah, you're gonna lose the war, buddy. I'm sorry. It happens. So,
Maybe.
anyhow, let me run through my list, make sure. Yeah, I think we got it all. I'm counting on Elon at this point. I'm counting. I'm just the last thing I'm going to say. We talked about how Elon's kind of giving the hint that tariffs are not a great idea. I need Elon to get that through to Trump in the next. What do we got? We have exactly 2 months and 2 days until inauguration. So he's got 2 months and 2 days to convince Trump that the tariffs are a bad idea.
Okay. All
Here I
right.
am rooting for Elon. This is going to be a
Let's
fun
go,
4 years.
Elon.
Like I'm rooting for Elon and John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader. Like those are the two people that I'm hoping come through for me. This is not going to be good. Yeah, where we're at. So
Yeah, it's tough times, Andy. Tough times.
we're going to make it, buddy. This is America. We're
I know we're
resilient.
gonna make it. I hope.
Yeah,
I guess
we
we'll see.
got this.
I'm excited. I'm actually excited for 2028.
I'm so not. The more I look at it, I think we're gonna have AOC versus JD Vance. I think that's if I had to pick the matchup right now, it's AOC and JD Vance.
I mean, Trump's already
So
talking about wanting to run again, two
he
consecutive
said
terms.
something. He said something the other day, and God help me.
I know.
I Yeah, he's gonna be too old at that point. I think let's say Trump makes it through this, I think we're gonna be looking at Biden like how Biden was a year ago, where we're all looking around going, "There's no way he can do this again," right? Like I think that's what we're looking at. Trump's
I think
79 right
I
now.
think we see. I think we're already seeing it.
He Just like I said about Joe Biden, like when you hit 79 years old, you're clearly not as sharp-witted as you were
Yeah.
at 60 or whatever it is. So
Right.
I felt like I said at the beginning of Biden's term, when people are like, yeah, but doesn't he seem older? I'm like, yeah, he's fucking 80. Like when you're 80, you are mentally slower than you were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Same thing with Trump right now. Now, does that mean that Trump is too mentally deficient to run the country? I'm not saying that. And I didn't say that about Biden. It turns out Biden became that way over the course of 3 years, where he went downhill in a hurry. That's the thing about getting old, and it's with humans, it's with dogs, it's with everything. Like there hits a point where they start to go downhill in a hurry, like they're aging fast, and like their abilities are going. And with Biden, it happened in about 2 years where it went real bad real quick. And with Trump, if that happens again, I don't think we have to worry about a third term. I also
Well,
think Trump.
the
Go ahead.
problem with Trump versus Biden, like Biden has that he's getting old and he's slowing down, right? Trump's
Okay,
getting old and he's just getting crazier. Like he
it's
like
the
and
Diet
his
Coke.
sentences don't make sense. Like
Yeah,
they never really had, but like if you like have you ever read one of his speeches out
God,
aloud?
that's my favorite thing to do because there's one person I follow on Twitter that always okay, I transcribed this portion of Trump's speech tonight. Read this and see what you think. And like you read it and you're like, clearly this must be transcribed wrong because this makes no sense. And then you watch the video and he's just jumping or he's stopping mid sentence and jumping to a new topic and then jumping back to that first topic. And if you listen to him, you can kind of follow it, but if you try to read it, it's impossible. So
Right.
yeah. I'm just excited. And I didn't think about this. Remember the first inauguration when he made Sean Spicer come out there and say, this was the most attended inauguration in history,
Yeah.
period. Like we're only 2 months and 2 days away from that level of fun again. So,
Oh, it's gonna happen again. We
yeah.
we have an even bigger crowd this
Oh,
time.
okay. Good thing to end on here. Remember how I told you a couple weeks ago that SNL busted out Dana Carvey as Biden, and he was fantastic. Like it was the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
Biden SNL has ever had, and I was mad that they waited until now to give us Dana Carvey's Biden. Did you see who Dana Carvey was last week on SNL?
No.
He nailed it. He was Elon on SNL and
Oh,
did it quite well. So we might have an SNL Elon Musk person going forward. I don't know.
okay.
We'll see how long it lasts, but I got excited
I
about
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
I
So
only watched like the opening monologue where all the cast was like, "Mr. Trump, we're sorry, we love you, hail Trump." Like,
I'll say this: I don't watch unless somebody like if Jim Carrey is suddenly on SNL, like I'll watch the whole episode. But other than that, I record SNL every week that is live, and I go back and I watch the opening, what they call it, the cold open, and then I
yeah.
watch the weekend update with Colin Jost and Michael Che. I think those two are very funny. The rest of the show, I don't give a fuck about, but I'll always watch that. That's quite fun for me. So I think I'm the only
Hmm,
person I know that watches SNL regularly, but I enjoy it. So
nice. Huh. Yeah.
anyhow,
I
yeah.
mean,
So
I see clips every once in a while. I'll watch them. They're fun.
yeah. So
But
turns out, hey, quick update: the Cowboys are now 3-7, and they continue to suck. Just thought I'd let you
oh,
know.
oh, they
Yeah,
lost?
yeah, you wouldn't believe it, man. They lost at home again.
Wow,
So
it's crazy.
they haven't won a game at home since last year. So
Oh,
34-10, which means I lost my fantasy football game. So now I'm sad. I'm gonna go to bed.
dang,
So
Andy.
yep.
All
So
right. Well,
yep. Pleasure. We'll meet up later this week, sir.
yeah, good talking to you. Talk to you
Yep.
soon.
Have a good night.
Too. Oops.
Yeah, it's on you, buddy.
Cancel. Oh yeah.